and welcome to another episode with Yule Acres, where today we're going to be talking about biome ecosystems. Specifically, we're going to be talking about cave ecosystems and the who, what, when, where, why, and how they can be better utilized to help you grow plants. Now, when you're first looking at biomes, it's important to understand, why do we even care about biomes? All over the world, there are different locations just based on how the Earth is tilted, the latitude, longitude, and even something as simple as the elevation of where it is located of how plants grow. Different plants are going to be gaining different amounts of precipitation, different temperatures, and even just the different nutrients that are available in those specific areas. And that's why it's so important to understand where the plant is that you are trying to grow is from, because it's going to give you a good general idea of what is going to be necessary to care for those plants. It could be something as simple as your aloe vera that you want to grow, to the wheat that you're trying to farm as a farmer, to something even as simple as a tulip or a rose that you want to make beautiful. By understanding where they're located at generally in the world and the biome of that area, it can give you a better understanding of what's going to be needed. Now, when we're looking at cave ecosystems, they are going to be very, very unique in the fact that they're not going to be located in just one specific area throughout the world. Cave ecosystems are actually going to be located throughout the entire world, and because of that, it's not going to be just one specific area where, oh, this is going to be a grassland located in this specific part of the world, and it's going to feed into this. They are literally all over the world. And they are a very, very unique ecosystem. Some of them are going to be dry, some of them are going to have gorgeous pools that sit underneath. But when you look at all of these, it is very important to even understand why these are so important. Not necessarily because there are a lot of plants that grow in them, but just because they are massive, massive reservoirs, and most of the water aquifers that we get a lot of our water from, or even our mineral deposits, are formed by these cave systems. So when you're looking at these caves, you first want to take a look at how they're actually formed. Most often the case is how cave systems are formed is there's going to be water or top precipitation that is going to seep down into the ground. They're going to find limestone or another soft rock bed pocket where water is going to gradually erode over time to help get that products away. And by over that gradual period of time that is going to erode away, you're going to get very, very unique formations where you get stalactites, stalagmites, and just very, very gorgeous formations of rock forming where it's gradually eroding. And a lot of times that means it's going to be high moisture environments that are very, very stagnant, that are also slow moving, that are untouched for literally hundreds of years, where it takes a very, very long time for this to form. And because of this, it takes so long, it is going to be very, very unique in its formation. Now, I mentioned before that a lot of these pools sometimes are formed by water erosion. Other times, these can actually be formed very, very quickly. One of the ways is by either an earthquake or a volcano erupting, forming giant, massive magma circles. And when these are formulated, it's then going to cause these giant pockets or tunnels like you see here that allows the water to form in. Now, the nice thing about this is that it's going to be very, very consistent throughout the entire year because of how deep into the ground they are. On average, you're looking at between 55, 65 degrees throughout the entire season. And that makes for a very, very stable environment. Sometimes, if you get near the entrance of these caves, you will get some plants that do start to grow, but for the most part, it's going to be very, very little plant life. And that is where it does get unique. The precipitation, when you're looking at it, there are many cases in cave formations around the world that due to that water seeping in, will get these underwater pools, creeks, rivers that like to form underneath. And that's where most of the precipitation in these caves occur. And because it is limestone, you are going to tend to have very consistent reservoirs as well. Sometimes you're going to have some salt deposits form, like in the Missouri area in the United States. There is a very large salt deposit that is mined. But oftentimes, with this being the case and having it limestone, you are generally going to have a large amount of alkaline soils just due to the nature of the soils that are around it. The unique thing, though, is your areas tend to be very consistent throughout the entire world. Very rarely are you going... Occasionally you're going to have like a vein of some mineral that runs through it, but oftentimes it's going to be very similar rock formations throughout the entire system. And with that being said, your pH is generally going to be about 6.5. However, it can be changed based on what the local environment is. What is unique about rock formations, though, people think they're often dead or lifeless, but occasionally they actually can have quite a large amount of animals that form in that area. Most of the time it's going to be cave dwellers, small microbiology, little amoebas that live through it, but occasionally you will get mammals and creatures like bats that do like to live in this area. And so that is one of the reasons why cave systems are so important, is because bats makes up approximately 20% of all mammals on Earth, and it's the biggest single population with literally billions of individual creatures that are on Earth. And as our technology has grown and people have been a little bit more adventurous, then we've been starting to utilize this bat guano as a source. And so it has become very important for us to know about cave systems, even though there is very little plant material that does grow. Another thing, though, that is unique when you look at benefits of the cave systems, like I mentioned before, it does tend to hold large amounts of water, like in central United States, North America, even in the Central Eastern Europe, and especially throughout Central Asia, there are massive aquifers that are formed by these cave systems. And that's where most of the inland drinking water that occurs is, and also purified, is through these underground cave and aquifer systems. And that's why it's so crucial and important to understand these systems, just so we can help maintain our water supply. And so that is one of the reasons why I find it so important to understand cave biomes. I would like to thank you for joining us as we take a look at this very cursory glance in the biome of the cave systems. Now, I would like to thank you very much for joining us, and now here is a word from our sponsors. This episode of Yule Acres is brought to you by Yule Acres Grapefruit Naturally Scented Lip Balm. For more information about this product, click on the link in the description below.